Hello everyone, welcome to the daily current affairs of 5th January. So these are the contents for today, and the source is PIB, News on Air, All India Radio News, and PBNS. All are government sites. So the content is water vision for 2047. So there also will be covering some miscellaneous topics related to the water mission. These are the topics which we'll cover. Then India is committed to eliminating Kala Azar by 2023. So we'll cover about Kala Azar and what are the states where it is more like it is endemic, and the India France 36th strategic dialogue begins. So here we'll discuss the relationship between India and France, what are the agreements in different sectors like space, like trade, defense, etc, etc, and we'll also cover the France map, because when two countries are in news, so it's better to cover the map there itself. Then we'll also cover MTCR, Wasenaar Agreement, Australia Group, and CCIT, because these are the topics which are related here, because France is supporting in all these three. We'll come to that. Now, modern personalities of modern history, that is Barindra Kumar Ghosh, his birth anniversary, so we'll cover this. Bind scheme, which was in last video also, it was in news, so this time also we'll cover it. And NIA is also in news today, so we'll cover the National Investigative Agency and the recent 2019 bill. Fine. Coming to the first topic, so India has made major strides in water security. So our water vision for 2047 will be a big contribution to Amrit Kal. That's what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said at the All India Annual States Ministers Conference on Water. So here the topic is water vision of 2047. So India has made all these efforts to conserve water, that is Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojna, Jal Jeevan Mission, Mission Amrit Sarovar, Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Atal Bhujal Yojna, and National Water Policy. Here we'll cover these two. Mission Sarovar is not that much required. Atal Bhujal Yojna you can cover on your own, but these two are very important. And the related topic is Central Groundwater Authority. So we'll cover this Central Groundwater Authority, what are the legal provisions, and all the necessary topics related to Central Groundwater Authority. Fine. So coming to the first scheme, that is Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojna. It consists of three major components implemented by various ministries. Overall, it comes under Ministry of Agriculture, but there are three components where different ministries like coordinate. Fine. So first is Department of Water Resources, River Development, and Ganga Rejuvenation, that is Ministry of Jal Shakti. So here the component is AIBP, that is Accelerated Irrigation Benefits Program. Another component is Har Khet Ko Pani, and these are the sub components. All these are coming under this Ministry of Jal Shakti. Another department is the Department of Land Resources, but it is under Ministry of Rural Development. Here another component comes under this particular ministry is Watershed Development. Finally, under Department of Agriculture, there is another component, Per Drop More Crop. So the three components comes under three different ministries. Fine. Fine. Next. Now Jal Jeevan Mission also you can go through the details from Vikaspedia. It is also a very good source you can cover for your self-study. So Jal Jeevan Mission supplies envisages supply 55 liters of water per person per day to every rural household. So Jal Jeevan Mission, this is rural. Okay. States and UTs to be responsible for the creation of water supply infrastructure so that every rural household has a functional tap connection by 2024. So this is rural. Similarly, we have a Jal Jeevan Mission for urban. Now here it is catering to 500 Amrut cities. So Amrut scheme is also in news always. You can go through Amrut scheme. For schemes, it is better to follow two sites, Vikaspedia or Arthpedia. These two sites are very holistic in content. Fine. Next, so one related topic I thought of covering here is groundwater. Central Groundwater Authority. First of all, this groundwater authority, it regulates the groundwater thing in India. It is a subordinate office of the Ministry of Water Resources. Okay. So remember, it is under Ministry of Water. It is not under Ministry of Agriculture. It is under Water Resources. Constituted under the EPA Act of 1986 Environment Protection Act. So this is an environment topic which you have to cover from your static environment thing. You need to know all the rules which are notified under Environment Protection Act. For example, economic sensitive zones, coastal regulation zones, ozone rules, all these are regulated under the EPA Act of 1986. Fine. So its purpose is to, the Groundwater Authority purpose is to regulate and control groundwater development and management of the country, as well as to ensure its long-term sustainability. So in a nutshell, it means it regulates the overall groundwater development and management of India. Now, last year 2022, it was in news. The authority granted relief to 2069 industries. It extended the last date for applying for no objection certificates from this date to this date for groundwater extraction. So some guidelines it gave. So the guidelines has a pan India applicability. The guidelines is for not a state specific. It is for whole India, which was never been there before. Okay. So problem is we do not have a proper law on groundwater. There has been a bill, but still then there is a lot of ambiguity behind this groundwater thing. So the guidelines are prohibition of industries. The guidelines prohibit new industry and mining projects in overexploited zones and makes it mandatory for existing industries, commercial units and big housing societies to take no objection certificate. They have to take this NOC. Fine. It prohibits them to take this NOCs, but you can't take. Fine. The new guidelines says it. Exemption: the domestic consumers, the rural drinking water schemes, the armed forces, farmers and micro and small enterprises that withdrew up to 10 cubic meters per day are exempted from the requirement of a NOC. These things are not required, like the domestic consumers and plus all these mentioned. It is not required for them to take a NOC. The NOCs are issued for a period of 2 to 5 years depending on the users and category of the area in which they are located. Compensation: it provides a minimum it provides a minimum environmental compensation of 1 lakh on industrial, mining and infrastructure users for extracting groundwater without a no objection certificate. So there's this guidelines you just need to know for prelims. Okay. Abstraction charges: all residential apartments, group housing societies, government water supply agencies in urban areas would be required to pay groundwater abstraction charges. Fine. Okay. Now the next topic: India is committed to eliminating Kala Azar by 2023. This is what the Union Health Minister said. Now you need to know what is Kala Azar. So this is particularly a prelims thing. They can ask you about Kala Azar, like what kind of disease. It is a protozoan disease, parasitic disease. It is also called black fever, spread by sand fly bites. The flies are infected with the parasite called, this is the name, Leishmania donovani. Kala Azar or black Azar, this point is very important because you need to know it is endemic. Yes, it is endemic to India, but in which states? It is endemic to Bihar, Jharkhand, UP, West Bengal, with an estimated of this much population at its risk. Now, in Indian Express, there was also a news in July 17, 2022, Kala Azar or black fever were detected in West Bengal. And in that particular news, it was mentioned it is endemic to Bihar, Jharkhand, UP and West Bengal. Fine. So these are the points which are mostly enough for prelims. So you need to know what kind of disease and the area where it is endemic. Okay, moving to the next topic, the 36th India and France strategic dialogue begins from today. Fine. So first of all, some historical background and some factual data on this. So France is the first country in which we initiated a strategic dialogue after our 1998 nuclear test, when France refused to impose bilateral sanctions on us. At that point of time in 1998, after the Pokhran nuclear test, so sanctions, France did not put sanctions. So from that point of time, India started or initiated a strategic dialogue. Okay, and defense, back in 2015, agreement for building 6 Scorpion submarines was made with France. Now, technology sharing always happens, acquisition of short-range missiles, radar, everything. Even in Rafale, okay, we bought Rafale from France. Now, two joint exercise also happens. One is for Air Force, one is for Army. For Army, it is Shakti exercise, and for Air Force, it is Garuda. So these are very common prelim stuffs which they may ask. The government to government agreement for 36 Rafale aircrafts has also taken place. Now in space, earlier France assisted India to set up Sriharikota launch site. So in Sriharikota, from there the launching happens, right? So France has also assisted India before. Now mission Gaganyaan is in news, which you have covered in January 2nd current affairs. So France is also collaborating in the sense it is helping in technology sharing and something like that. It is not a Gaganyaan is an indigenous thing, right? But still then a country like France is helping. So there is an agreement also. Now in energy or in environment, there is something called International Solar Alliance. This is also we have covered in our last current affair class. So International Solar Alliance is spearheaded by India, okay, from 2015-16. So the International Solar Alliance is set in motion jointly by India and France. Okay. Now France has also offered this much money in solar projects for developing countries, and International Solar Alliance is for investment of our transition to solar energy. Fine. Now this is where we get a lot of prelims question. Okay, so what has happened is, in support and strategic ties between India and France, France has been supporting India's claim for permanent membership at the UNC. So India is demanding for a permanent. We have 5 members in UN as permanent members. So India is also demanding for a permanent membership, and France is also supporting the India's claim. France's support was vital in India's accession to MTCR, Wasenaar arrangement, Australia group. Okay, so here we need to know all these things. France continues to support India's bid for accession to NSG. Even India wants to join NSG, but India is not a part, and France is supporting. India and France have consistently condemned terrorism and have resolved to work together for the adoption of CCIT, Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. Now this CCIT, it was the resolution was moved by India in UN. Okay, at the UN during 1996, and this CCIT was about convention on comprehensive convention on international terrorism. So here they defined that there should not be any good terrorist or bad terrorist. Terrorism is terrorism, right? But it is yet to be signed. It is still not signed by the countries. It is not into force because there is a clear division among countries between, they're telling good terrorist versus bad terrorist. But India is telling that there should be no differentiation between good or bad when it comes to terrorism. And in this particular thing, France is also supporting. Fine. Now we'll go through MTCR, Wasenaar arrangement, and Australia group. Coming first to MTCR. See, MTCR full form is Missile Technology Control Regime. It is basically a multilateral export control regime. Export control. Okay. So it was started in 1987 by G7 countries. G7 is USA, UK, Canada, Germany, Italy, Japan, and France. So basically what happens is now there are 35 members. There are 35 members. India is also a member. India is also a member. So the work was to it, and basically it is an informal. It is not a very formal organization. It's an informal to limit. Main work is to limit the proliferation of missiles and missile technology. Okay, and India became a member in 2016, very recent. It started in 1987. Okay, so basically this MTCR was started to check the proliferation of missiles and missile technology, in particular the unmanned delivery systems, to check the unmanned delivery systems for nuclear weapons. In particular, the systems that could carry a payload of 500 kg to a range of 300 km. Okay, that is what MTCR is, and India is a member. Now coming to the Wasenaar group. Wasenaar arrangement. So here in this arrangement, India is also a member. Very recent, India became a member of Wasenaar arrangement. So now it is also in news. Why? Because Wasenaar arrangement from 1st January 2023, this year, India is holding the chairmanship. Okay, before it was Israel. Ireland, not Israel, it is Ireland. Okay, so before is not required, but you need to know who is now in particular the chairman. Now what is this arrangement, what it is all about? Basically it is also a export control regime. Now what do you mean by export control? For MTCR also we read export control means to control export on something. You need to control export on something. Okay, it was in missile technology. Now in MTCR was in missile technology. Now Wasenaar arrangement is a export control regime. Fine. Here what they do is export control regime. They will exchange information. Countries will exchange information. If two countries are a part of WA, Wasenaar arrangement, they will exchange information on transfers of conventional weapons, which are very conventional weapons, and dual, this is the keyword, dual use goods technologies. Now the keyword is this. So basically the export control, when two countries are exporting, they will have a information on conventional weapons and dual use. Now what do you mean by dual use? Dual use means a particular good or a technology which is used for multiple purposes. Okay, usually peaceful purposes and military. Fine. So this is what Wasenaar arrangement is all about. Now it was established in 1996. Its secretariat is in Vienna. Vienna is in Austria. Okay. Recently India, Australia, after 27 years, the External Affairs Minister of India and Australia met. We have covered this. We have covered the map of Austria in January 2nd or January 3rd current affairs. Fine. So India is also a member of WA, mostly in 2017 or 18. India is a member. It is 2017. Okay. So mostly it has 42 members. 42 members. Mostly they are mostly from European Union and NATO. Also India in 2007. Presently 2023 India is holding the chairmanship. Okay, fine. So I guess that this much is enough for this thing, and all the decisions here are taken on consensus. There used to happen a plenary meeting. It will all the countries will come sit and they will take decision on consensus, not on majority vote. Okay, fine. Next is Australia group. In Australia group also India is a member, very recent, in 2018. 2018 India became a member. 17 and 18 was important because on 17 it became Wasenaar arrangement, and on 18 it became the group, the member of Australia group. Now coming to Australia group. Australia group, it is also an informal forum. It is also an informal forum. Now what it does, it is also to ensure that the country's exports, see these are all export control regimes, countries' exports do not contribute to the development of, so the keyword is the development of, this is the keyword, chemical or biological weapons. Chemical or biological weapons. So it deals with anything what you are exporting. Make sure that that particular technology or that particular good or anything which you are exporting, it does not lead to development of chemical and biological weapons. Now this was established in 1985. Okay, so chronology wise 1985, 1987, 1996, you need to remember in this way. Okay, fine. So it was established in 1985 and India is also a member. India became member in 2018. India became the 43rd country to join at that point of time. Now just remember here, China, Pakistan, Iran and North Korea are not members. These are not members of Australia group. Okay, now because the name is Australia, so Australia manages the secretariat. Australia manages the secretariat, just remember. Okay, but India and all, now the thing is we cover this because it is in news, because France is supporting. Now your work is to cover NSG. NSG question already asked in 2015, the members, related to a members, there was a prelims question. India still is not a part of NSG. Okay, nuclear supplies group. So you can cover NSG on your own, it's available in the internet. Okay, now let's move on to the next thing. Now because France is in news, so it's better to cover the mapping part here itself. Okay, the mapping part. Now if you see, where is France? France is here. Okay, now first of all the border countries, let's go to the border. Spain, okay, Brussels, that is Belgium, Italy, Germany, Bern is Switzerland. So these are the, and another also Andorra. This is also small, very small country. So just remember the countries. Now English Channel and Bay of Biscay. Okay, I think this much is enough. Okay, next, Now, modern history personalities in news today is Barindra Kumar Ghosh. Now, Barindra Kumar Ghosh was a revolutionary during his initial youth time. So, remembering the great revolutionary freedom fighter on his birth anniversary, he formed the secret revolutionary group Jugantar, very famous in our modern history static topic, under the fitness club in Bengal, and played an important role in recruiting young revolutionaries along with Baga Jatin is also very famous. In some other day, we'll cover Baga Jatin. Okay. Now, coming to some important events of Barindra Kumar Ghosh, which will help you in prelims and plus both mains answer writing enrichment. Coming to the revolutionary activities, 1906 he started the publishing Jugantar, which was a Bengali weekly, and a revolutionary organization named Jugantar soon followed. Now, Jugantar was formed from the inner circle of Anuchilan Samiti. Anuchilan Samiti was also a revolutionary group, very important, and it is available in the content is available in books also. And it started preparation for armed militancy activities to oust the British from Indian soil. Now, Barindranath and Jatindranath Mukherjee. Now, Jatindranath Mukherjee, he was very famous and was known as Baga Jatin. Okay, in some other class we'll cover this. So, Barindranath and Jatindranath were instrumental in recruitment of many young revolutionaries across Bengal. The revolutionaries formed the Maniktala group. You have to remember this for prelims. Maniktala group is a place in Kolkata. It was a secret place where they started manufacturing bombs and collected arms and ammunition. So in that place they started collecting or making bombs. Okay, now comes the case name, that is the Alipur bomb case. See, there are lots of conspiracy cases, so you need to remember the case names, because last year one case came, Lahore conspiracy case or something came. This is the Alipur conspiracy case. The other name is called Maniktola case. It is Maniktola case. So what happened is, following the attempted killing Kingsford, who was a Britisher, he was there was an attempt to kill him by Khudiram Bose and Prafulla Chakki on 1908, 30 April. Then the police intensified its investigation, which led to the arrest of Barindranath and Aurobindo Ghosh. Okay, on 2nd May 1908, along with many of his comrades. So they got arrested. Then the trial is known as Alipur bomb case or the Maniktola conspiracy. It initially sentenced Aurobindo Ghosh, Barindra Ghosh, Ulaskar Datta to death. However, the sentence was reduced to life imprisonment and Barin was deported to cellular jail in Andaman in 1909 along with other convicts. In cellular jail, he was locked up beside V.D. Savarkar. V.D. Savarkar was also at that point of time in jail, and he successfully managed to flee cellular jail in 1915. But he managed to flee the jail, but he was again caught up in Puri, Odisha. Now his later life, he was caught up and again he was released after 5 years. He was released and returned to Kolkata to start a career in journalism, but he did not continue. Then in 1923 he left for Pondicherry, where his elder brother, by the way, Aurobindo Ghosh is his elder brother. Okay, so Aurobindo Ghosh had formed the Sri Aurobindo Ashram, because Aurobindo Ghosh after 1910 he also left politics and became a spiritual. Okay, so in Pondicherry, which is called as Auroville, there is a place called Auroville, which is named after the Aurobindo Ghosh, because his followers propagated his ideas, his spiritual ideas. So he left for Pondicherry and he joined the Aurobindo Ashram. Remember, it was by Aurobindo Ghosh. Now some books written by Barindra Kumar Ghosh: Dvipanater, Banshi, Pathar, Ingit, Amara, Atmakatha, Agniyug, Rishi Najnarayan, The Tale of My Exile, Sri Aurobindo. So remember, like 2 to 3 you can remember from here for prelims. Now Pathar Ingit is important because there is another book on similar sounding, that is Pathar Dabi. Now Pathar Dabi was written by Sarat Chandra Chattopadhyay. Remember, Pathar Dabi is a book about secret society named Pathar Dabi, whose goal is to free India from British rule, and Sarat Chandra Chattopadhyay played a great role in making a revolutionary mind in young Indians. So it was a book on revolutionary activities. Now Pathar Davi by Sarath Chandra Chattopadhyay, but Pathar Ingit is by Barindra Kumar Ghosh. Okay. Now coming to the next is bind scheme. Now bind scheme we have covered in our last class, or the 4th January, because it was it's again in news. It is related to broadcasting, infrastructure and network development. Basically, we have a public broadcaster called Prasar Bharati. Now from Prasar Bharati only the news are taken in this particular current affair series. So to modernize the broadcasting and to make it accessible to hilly areas, left wing extremism areas, this bind scheme is the government has brought this scheme. It's a very new scheme. So that's it. You can cover Prasar Bharati in my last class. There is a Prasar Bharati Act. Okay, it's a statutory body. Okay. Now on January 5, NIA conducted searches at 6 locations and arrested 2 operatives in Shimoga ISIS conspiracy case. So in National Investigative Agency becomes important. So it is basically in 2008, after the attacks, Mumbai attacks, it was brought by the government. It is nothing but a central counter-terrorism law enforcement agency of India to investigate all offences affecting the sovereignty, security and integrity of India. It includes friendly relations with foreign states against atomic and nuclear facilities, smuggling of arms, drugs, fake currency notes, infiltration across borders, everything. Headquarters is in Delhi and it comes under Ministry of Home Affairs. Now this agency is empowered to deal with investigation and terror related crimes across the states without special permission from the state. State permission is also not required. Investigating agency can enter and deal with the investigation of terror related crimes, okay, in states. So without having to get permission from the states, the agency investigates terror offences, waging war against the country, offences on nuclear facilities, etc. So its aim is to become a professional investigating agency matching global standards. Okay, it comes under Ministry of Home Affairs. Now recently current affairs related to this is there is a Amendment Act. Now the act was amended. The 2008 act was amended to bring some new things. It allowed the agency to investigate the following new offences, like human trafficking is also included, counterfeit currency, banknotes related offences, sale or manufacture of prohibited arms, offences under Explosive Substances Act, cyber terrorism is also included, because it is a very new thing nowadays which is happening. Now the amendments also expands the jurisdiction of NIA. It has expanded the jurisdiction of NIA. How? Now it has the authority to investigate offences that are committed outside the Indian territory. Okay, so outside the Indian territory, if any offences is conducted related to terror or something or all these things, NIA has the authority to investigate. However, subject to international treaties and domestic laws of other nations. Okay, so it also allows central government to constitute special courts to conduct trials of scheduled offences. Accordingly, the government will have the power to designate sessions courts as special courts. It means there are session courts, okay, subordinate courts, so they can be also designated by the government to work as a special courts under this NIA Act, but after consulting with the Chief Justice of the High Court, under which the Sessions Court functions. But yes, the government has to consult the Chief Justice of the High Court. The Act also authorizes the state government to designate special courts. It means special courts can be designated by center. It can be also designated by state. The government can appoint more than special court in that area, more than one special court. Okay, currently there are 38 special NIA courts across the country and across the union territories. The special courts judges are appointed by Government of India in consultation with the High Court Chief Justice of that area. This we have covered here also. The trials of NIA special courts have precedented over the trial of the accused in any other case in any other court. So it will have precedence. If same thing is the same case is happening in other courts also, but the NIA special courts will always have the precedence over that. Okay, fine, that's it for today. Thank you.